Welcome to the Gridiron. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Here is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right. I had the countdown going and everything. And just stopped halfway midstream. Welcome to the Gridiron. If you give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking awesome. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. Now, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live, or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, description box below, very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. And then also, way down at the bottom, I believe it's the bottom link, all the way down at the bottom of the description box, takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,400 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, hey, it was like after the Giants, the Deutschland debacle, right? Yeah, of course you had, Daniel Jones, this might have been his last play that he played for the New York Giants. And then kind of, as the week went along, I was like, no, he might be hanging in there. He might be, he might be still might be the starter. And then it got to be official today. Obviously Dabes and Shane and all that stuff and everything thought it over or whatever. I'm sure they knew, they just weren't going to come out and say it, right off the bat. But thank you, sweet dear baby Jesus. Daniel Jones has been benched. Daniel Jones era is no mas. So, they knew. They know. Well, we're going to sit down. We're going to think about it. We're going to look at the tape, and we're going to shoot the crap, and we're going to throw some stuff together, and this, that. I don't know. We'll combine our heads together, and we'll think what's been. They knew what was happening. They knew he wasn't playing no more. But is what it is. Made for good drama, right? But so it's finally over. It's not. You just don't really know exactly what. Is he damaged goods? Did Saquon wind up meaning like maybe that much to him? Because having Saquon back there, right? It's huge. We got Tracy, right? But I said him getting hit. Getting hit hurts. No, getting hit affects everybody differently. Some guys, because like with Eli, don't get me wrong, and same thing like Brett Favre and guys who played, hundreds of games in a row at quarterback. God bless you. You could ever talk to Favre or Eli and stuff like that. There were times, obviously, I'm sure, they had all kinds of aches and pains and things wrong with them. And if they really wanted to, they could have been, maybe I shouldn't play, and they're just warriors. They're just straight up warriors. But, Eli and Favre and all that, they didn't tear the ACL. And my ACL's torn and I can't walk on it. And I said, I'm going to play. No, they're not. They didn't have that happen to him. Daniel Jones had stuff go wrong with his neck 2 times, right? So maybe they maybe had some other things and stuff like that. But there's certain things you can play with, and It doesn't, you got to be a tough dude to play football. It's not for the weak of heart, right? But I mean, Daniel Jones is getting injured and getting injured and getting injured and getting injured and getting. I mean, just it's it affects everybody differently, and possibly, right? Possibly, maybe it just took its toll on him. I mean, because I mean, if you look, with that, the flea flicker, right? He gets the ball, right? And there's a couple guys, like 13 wide receivers running wide open down the field. Like there was like nobody within like 300 miles of him, but I mean, I don't, he was like this. I don't know if he out of the corner of his eye, I don't know if he's seeing the one guy who's going to sack him, right? And he's like, well, if I let it go, I'm going to, like as I let it go, right after I, let it go, I'm going to get nailed. So let me just hold the ball and brace myself. You know what I mean? So instead of throwing the ball and I don't know. Maybe that's what he's thinking. I don't know. But then again, some of the stuff is it's like, why you got a clean pocket? Malik Neighbors over here, and you threw the ball like 13 yards over the guy's head. What the? Yeah. I mean, it's really funny because again, some of these. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, giant Facebook groups. And you see obviously the pros and the cons, and there's people out there that are like, yeah, Daniel, we failed you, Daniel, and this and that. And, I mean, have you seen the dude play this year? I mean, are you that stupid? I mean, seriously. I mean, what's your excuse? I mean, the Malik Neighbors, I mean, I mean, two guys running wide open. Why you throw the ball? Well, I mean, what's I mean, just we failed you. I mean, in a way, I mean, you can certainly, I mean, the offensive line has been rather poor ever since he's been here. Haven't had a number one wide receiver. So yeah. But once again, things happen, right? It's the world's not fair, not always fair, right? You could also, not feel too sorry for Daniel Jones because the man got some money, right? He got paid. He can live, I don't know if he's ever going to be a starter, a pure starter on another team ever again. I mean, he might be a viable backup or something, Hey, bring him in off the bench. Hey, be a good backup. I mean, he ain't making no $40 million a year. I don't know what he'd make, but he should be. He'd be a good backup. He's a good student of the game. He comes in, first one in, last one out, studies hard, all that. He's a good athlete and everything, right? Smart, right? But, I mean, he's not much more like a glorified backup quarterback, especially it doesn't seem like at this particular point in time in his career. Yeah, exactly. And those are history's mysteries. You can talk to 10 different people and get 10 different answers. Right. And you can talk to 10 different experts and get 10 different answers of what happened. And each one might have viable answers for you. Right. Exactly what happened to Daniel Jones. Right. So, I mean, but you're never going to know, why his rookie season, he had 24 touchdown passes. He had 12 interceptions. He had like 315 fumbles. I get it. But 24 touchdown passes. I think he's the only rookie quarterback ever. Okay. I mean, at the time, anyway, I don't know if it's been broken since. I don't know. But he had to have 4 or more touchdowns in a game, four more touchdown passes, I think, in a game. Over 300 or over 350 yards in a game in his rookie season, and no interceptions. Other quarterbacks have done it. Fran Tarkenton did it, but Fran Tarkenton, when he was a rookie for the Vikings, he had three games where he had 4 more touchdown passes, and he had over 300 yards passing as a rookie for the Vikings in 61. But one of the games he had an interception. There were other quarterbacks that I think 1 or 2 others that did it, but they all had interceptions. Daniel Jones in those games they were not very good teams, but hey, when you're playing against bad teams, you're supposed to play well against them, and he did. And he had, he had some, I mean, how he went from that, he started 12 games in 2019 and he had 24, how he went from throwing 2 touchdown passes a game to now he can't even throw half a touchdown again. I mean, it's like boggles my brain. Yeah, as I said, is he just damaged goods with the injuries and getting hit and pummeled? I mean, maybe, possibly. I mean, maybe it affected his timing, his thinking, and all that. I said, you getting hit. I mean, it affects everybody differently. So the news came out. So there's a couple of things here, obviously. One, right, is one of the things is kind of, it's a little, is Brian Daboll coaching for his job over the final 7 games? John Mara's patience is again being tested. So the thing is that and I heard this, this is kind of, the guy they let go is having like an MVP type season, and he's flourishing. He's doing really well. The guy that they paid is now being benched, and the guy they paid, his career with the Giants is basically over. So it's like, go in there and tell Mr. Mara that. And they got to go look for another quarterback. But, so once again, hindsight's always 20/20. But I mean, the thing is like, is Daboll, he benched him, but is he coaching for his job? If so, hold on. All right, buddy, we're good. If he's coaching for his job, I mean, does Devito give him the best opportunity, I guess? Because it's like, you don't want to bench Jones and bring in an inferior quarterback if your job is on the line and you say out of the last 7 games, say you go 1-6. I mean, right now you're 3-14. It's like, you're going to have a job. I mean, so interesting. But so we got, obviously, Brian Daboll is coaching for his job over the final 7 games of the season, according to Fox Sports News insider Jordan Schultz. However, Jordan Schultz knows this. Who knows? But Giants are 2-8, obviously, this season. And on Monday, Daboll announced that the fan favorite Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan will replace Daniel Jones. Schultz wrote, while ownership has suggested he'll return, there is growing sense that the Giants head coach Brian Daboll is coaching for his job over the final 7 games. But, I mean, as I said, there is that. But there's also, on Rich Eisen's show, right? He was, I guess it was last week. I guess maybe it was, what he was saying. Oh, this was after the Carolina game. This was last week. Rich Eisen really, he seems, what he said on his show is that, the ownership loves Daboll. So, we'll have to wait and see. You always hear conflicting reports. After leading the Giants to a 9-7-1 record, winning a playoff game and being named coach of the year, things have gone south for Daboll. Co-owner John Mara famously warned Daboll of the dangers of going from Bono to Bozo. Yep. Or from Bono to Bozo. The Giants are 8-19 over the past 2 seasons. The NFL insider Adam Schefter said on the Pat McAfee show that he still believes Daboll and GM Shane are safe, at least for the rest of the season. I believe they're safe right now. John Mara came out and said that they were going to be safe. I think that they are right now going to be safe. Schefter also said, this ownership wants to believe in continuity, wants to not make any changes. That's what they're planning to do. Could their plans change? Sure, but I don't believe they're planning right now to change the head coach and GM. So I mean, as of right now, I mean, look at Dallas. I mean, they just got the doors blown off them tonight, 34-10 to the Texans. They got a backup quarterback in there, right? Well, Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan is the third-string quarterback. So once again, we're going to have a third-string quarterback in there. Well, let's see. I mean, hey, he took us to 3 victories last season, and actually it would have been a 4th if Graham Gano didn't miss that 35-yard field goal or whatever because he was injured against the Jets. So, but then again, if we won that game, we would have fell farther down the draft board, and quite possibly we may not have got Malik Neighbors either. So it worked out for the best. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, I mean, as I said, putting Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan in there, if Daboll thinks his job is safe, right? And we start losing a bunch of games, and we're going to go over the quarterback situation here a little bit. But if he thinks his job is safe, right, and we he gets Tommy in there, get the dude some more playing time. And as I said, bring the dude back next year, right? I mean, if you're going to have 3 quarterbacks, whoever you're going to get next year, whether it's in free agency or in the draft or whatever, right? You got that. I don't know if Drew Lock's going to want to come back. I don't know. But, get Tommy some more. I mean, that would be his 3rd season under this with the Daboll and all. Get the dude some playing time, man. Get him with the offensive line. Get him with the first string wide receivers and all that, the tight ends and everything like that. Get him out there calling plays again, right? Valuable, hugely valuable reps and playing time and everything for Tommy. So get the dude out there. Let him finish if he can survive. But let him finish the final 7 games. That'd be immensely important for his growth. Not saying he's probably not going to be, probably not going to be, the number 1 quarterback going forward. But hey, I mean, certainly, keep the dude around, right? Especially let's see how he does, right? He did good, right? He's around the 2nd season. Let's put him out there again. Let's see what he's got, right? And I mean, he had some sparkling moments last year. Some of it was he held on to the ball a little too long or too much. Because he didn't want to throw interceptions, but and sometimes like against the Jets, he wasn't allowed to throw the football, it seemed like. I don't know how many times he threw the ball against the Jets, but wasn't much. They just didn't seem to want like they wanted him to throw the ball. So anyway, but get the dude some playing time. Oh yeah, very, very valuable. All right. So we got here, right? The key, and I got this other one here, which I'm kind of seeing here, right? The key reason why Giants coach Brian Daboll benched Daniel Jones for Tommy DeVito. It's been a long time coming, but finally the Giants have decided to move on from Daniel Jones. Thank you, Jesus. Although Jones remains on the roster, at least until next spring, he's been demoted to 3rd-string quarterback behind 2023 cult hero Tommy DeVito and Drew Lock, who was expected to compete with Jones for the starting job when the Giants signed him this offseason. Now, in the hours since the decision was announced by the Giants head coach Brian Daboll, more information has begun trickling out regarding why Daboll finally pulled the trigger on the move, as well just how badly fractured the relationship was between Jones and the organization that selected him 6th overall. Once again, how these guys know this, no idea. But per NFL insider Jordan Schultz, Daboll finally decided to make a change at quarterback because there was a growing belief that he could be coaching for his job over the final 7 games of the season. This plays into why Daboll ultimately chose DeVito over Drew Lock. Aha, interesting. Last season, obviously, DeVito very briefly took the league by storm as he became the NFL's version of Linsanity. He quarterbacked the Giants to a 3-3 record in 6 starts, throwing for 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, and just 3 interceptions, while also adding 195 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Tommy Chicken Cutlets will get his chance to spark another run starting this Sunday at MetLife Stadium against the Bucs, who come to town. It's no secret that the turmoil within the Giants locker room between Brian Daboll and Daniel Jones has been building for some time. Daboll has already pulled Jones out of action once this year during a beatdown at the hands of the Eagles, but the tension between Jones and the entire organization stems from the offseason. Per Schultz, A source described the relationship between the two sides as a bit awkward ever since the Giants publicly explored their options at quarterback over the offseason, including on the first ever offseason of Hard Knocks for the Giants. It was like flirting with someone new while your date is still at the table, the source told Schultz. Well, I mean, okay. I mean, if Daniel Jones was that pissed off or something, you go out there and you put the big boy pants on, you show him. You guys were going to go after Daniels, yeah. You got me, yeah. I'll show you wrong. Well, put the big boy pants on there, brother. Go out there and lead us to some victories. He hasn't done it, right? Hasn't done it. The proof is in the pudding, right? He's showing what he's doing, what he can do, and he's just. Seems like he's just damaged goods. From Jones's perspective, this would come across as a betrayal. After all, only one season had passed since Jones and the Giants made a surprising run to the NFC divisional round. However, looking at his entire resume, it makes sense why the G-men would explore other options at starting quarterback, especially considering Jones was coming off a season in which he tore his ACL. Will the move away from Daniel Jones be enough to save Brian Daboll's job? Only time will tell. But for at least 1 week, fans in New York can enjoy Devito mania. Then there was also the one thing, too, was kind of, was it Michael Lombardi? I think his name is. I don't know if it was a past GM. He absolutely loves, I mean, he's just nothing. To me, he's just a fat. That's all he is to me. But he loves just throwing shade at the Giants every chance he gets. I mean, he's just, but the fat said, and this kind of does make sense. It's like, why did you go out and, this does have a little merit to it. Now, unless you brought in Drew Lock because you thought his body of work was okay, and then you bring him in here and you bring him into your system and all, and he's just not quite the guy. Maybe they made a boo-boo. I don't know, but why did you bring Drew Lock in here? For $5 million, if you're going to bench Jones and bring Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan as the backup, right? Then he also brought up, it was like, you take that $5 million and threw that at Saquon Barkley, maybe you might still have your running back. I mean, you can imagine, right? I mean, I don't know if we would have drafted Theo Johnson. I don't know if we would have drafted him if Waller was not contemplating retirement. I'm saying, could you imagine? I mean, and that was another one of the mistakes, the problems or what the issues or whatever, right? Of course, it's a 3rd round pick this year's draft. I don't know who we would have gotten, but we got Andrew Phillips in the 3rd round. I mean, could you imagine if we hit another grand slam in the 3rd round with a third round pick? Right, so that's another mistake. Not a mistake, but another thing that went against the Giants, right? Trading the 3rd round pick for Waller. I'm saying, but imagine if we didn't bring in Locke, if we had the $5 million plus some other money, I'm sure we could have found through it. Gave Saquon $14-15 million a year, right? Sure, he probably hopefully would have stayed with the Giants. If we had Waller and we got Malik, wow, that's a nice trio right there. You have Wando Robinson, you got Slayton still. Now, I'm not saying that would have saved Daniel Jones' job. Who knows? But it's I don't know. It's refreshing. There's hope. I mean, even now, as the season comes to a close here and all, there's like a little hope for the future, I guess. Now that Daniel Jones is quite possibly he's taking his last snap with the New York Football Giants. So, but with this past weekend, I mean, the Giants were idle, but Giants now sit at 5th in the NFL draft. Ooh. Tell you what, you just look at some of those teams, those Jaguars, they are just straight up trash. Straight up pure D garbage. I will tell you what. Oh, my goodness. I mean, the Lions had like almost 650 yards of offense. They had 38 first downs. You know how hard it is to get 38 first. I think that's what the Cowboys had. The Cowboys had something close to that against the Giants last year on was it Thanksgiving or two years ago. 2 years ago, last year, whatever it was. On the last year. Let me see. This is bothering me. Let's see what we got here. The Cowboys when he, I think it was, let's see here. Try this here. 2 in New York. Because I know the Cowboys had a ton of first downs on the Giants too. And it felt like it too. It had to be last year. The 49-17 beatdown. Okay, let's go to box score here. It had to be last year. It wasn't the Thanksgiving Day game. What did the Cowboys have? 32. They had 32 first downs. But they had 640 yards of offense. Basically, that's about how many yards of offense the Lions had. They had like 640, something around there. Almost 650 yards of offense the Lions had. But they had 38 first downs. I mean, holy cow. You know how hard it is to get 38 first downs? Wow. I mean, the Jaguars are just, oh, my goodness. Well, they don't got Lawrence in there either. I'm sure that would have made a huge difference. But the Giants, obviously, like all the teams that had 2 wins going into this past week, they all lost. So, right. But so where the Giants sit in the 2025 NFL draft order following the bye week, unfortunately. New York Giants' chance to earn the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft took a significant hit during the bye week. As the Giants prepare to come out of the bye for the final 7 games of the season, they are among the teams with the best chance to land the top overall pick in this upcoming draft. There are 3 other teams that share the Giants' record of 2-8, while the Jacksonville Jaguars currently hold the top spot in the draft order, though they haven't had their bye yet, so they're 2-9. With the majority of Week 11 games concluded, here's a look at the updated NFL draft order, according to Tankathon. So we got the Jaguars at number 1 because they're 2-9. Then you had all these next 4 teams all had their byes, right? So you had the Titans, the Browns, the Raiders, and the Giants. So they're all 2-8. But of course, unfortunately, what stinks is that the Giants. There's 4 teams, all are 2-8. Of course, the Giants have the toughest strength of schedule as of this point in time. So that's why they're picking 5th instead of 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. But the Giants have some easier teams coming up, all right, that they're going to be playing with some bad records. So that'll help the Giants' strength of schedule. Right, but then again, also, easier teams means chances of some victories. I mean, I said, they could win any given Sunday. Anything can happen. I said, look at the Cowboys. I mean, they just got. they're 0-5 at home. I mean, they're getting throttled every time at home. I mean, they're just looking just straight up trash. I mean, 34-10 they lost here. I mean, they get killed by the Eagles. 34-6 to the Eagles. It was 34. Now, to be the Eagles, I mean, I think it was Ezekiel Elliott fumbled the ball at the 2-yard line. I mean, what a fucking idiot. I mean, dude's worried about going like this. Why don't you hold on to the ball, you idiot? So that took basically 7 points off the board for him. Another thing that took 4 points off the board for him was because the sunlight. I think Cooper Rush hit it was CeeDee Lamb and ABCD in the shoulder because he couldn't see the ball because of the sunlight. Well, he was wide open. Right? Hit it. If he saw the ball, he would have caught the ball for touchdowns. So I think they kicked the field goal there, so I would give him another 4 points. So it was 34-6. But I mean, they could easily had 34-6. It still would have been blown up, but it would have been 34-17 or so. I mean, also in the second half when you're down, by 3 scores or whatever, some of the teams they're packing it in, for the game. So, but they just get killed at home, But so the Giants, unfortunately, now at 5th. So it's no secret that the turmoil. There we go. There we go. The Giants still have a shot at the number 1 pick and at least a top 3 pick in the draft. That will be vital for their chances to grab a potential franchise quarterback. Well, we're going to go over that in just a little bit. Now, the thing is that if you look at it too, and I brought this up, what the heck was it? Why did I bring this up? But maybe it might have been the last video. I think it was. Because Jacksonville, depends upon Lawrence when he's coming back. He might lead him to a victory or two just because he's back, which would be cool. The thing is that if they wind up number 1, that's not so bad because quite possibly, they got themselves a quarterback. Now, whether Peterson's there or not, who knows, right? But they got themselves a quarterback, so they may not be looking for a quarterback. The problem is that that's kind of like, an invitation for them. We don't need a quarterback. We can have somebody jump up, right? Grab a quarter, trade with us. We slide back a few spots. We get their number 1 pick. We pick up another 2nd round pick and another 4th round pick or whatever. So however it works out, they pick up some draft picks, move back a few spots, and they still get themselves a great player, right? So the thing would be like, is that an invitation for the Giants? Say the Giants, whatever, same picking 5th or 6th. Do they call up? They pick up the phone and talk to Jackson. Hey, you want to trade for number 1 overall pick? So I'll have to wait and see. But the Giants have to be all in on a quarterback. Now, once again, we're going to go over this quarterback stuff here in a little bit. And just because you got a chance at the top quarterback don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing. So, let's see. Considering all 4 teams currently ahead of the Giants could find themselves looking for a quarterback, possibly even the Jaguars, which is possible, right? Holding the 5th overall pick may not be high enough to take a quarterback because there's only so many quarterbacks. There's only like 3 quarterbacks, I think, who have according to PFF. Now, guys, you're going to jump up the board. Once the season's over with and they get to the East-West Shrine Game, the Senior Bowl, the Combine, the Pro Day workouts, then they have their meetings and all that. Guys are going to jump up the board. Guys are like a 2nd round pick. He was a late 2nd round pick or something, maybe. Now he's like, he could be the greatest quarterback of all time. His East-West Shrine Game, what a performance he put on. He might be the best quarterback we've ever seen. So that happens all the time. Like McCarthy last year, right? I don't know what he was, late 1st, 2nd round pick, and all of a sudden he might be the greatest quarterback of all. Get McCarthy while you can. He's probably the greatest quarterback we've ever, so that happens every year. But as of right now, there's only 3 quarterbacks, according to PFF, who have 1st round grades, right? So if we're picking 5th, even if the Jaguars are picking 1st, there's 3 other teams in front of the Giants as of right now. Long way to go. You win 1 or 2 games and you're going from 5th back to 12th. Right? So, yeah. Right. So, but as of right now, okay. Let us look at the teams. The Titans. Yeah, they need it. I don't think they're especially 2-8 with their quarterback. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be looking for a quarterback. The Browns. Oh yeah. The Deshaun Watson debacle. Oh yeah. And then the Raiders. Oh, yeah, they're looking for a quarterback. And the Giants. Oh, yeah, they're looking for a quarterback. The thing is, if the Patriots wind up in front of the Giants, they're not looking for a quarterback, right? But then you look at all these other teams right behind them. They're quarterbacks. The Jets, the Panthers, not the Cowboys, possibly the Saints. Possibly, maybe. Who knows? The Dolphins, maybe. What's going on with Tua? Is he going to, with his health and everything? But with the Jets, Rodgers might retire. You got Rodgers. You brought Adams in here with you. All of this and everything. Had a great defense. Of course, we fired the coach. That didn't help. But and they stink. So, whether Rodgers comes back or whatever, I don't even know what his contract's like. But if they do he comes back, they're going to want somebody behind him. Because if this is his last year or next year's last year, whatever, I mean, yeah, sooner or later it's going to be his last year, and they're going to want a quarterback behind him. So there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, but the problem is there's not enough to go around. It's not like like this past draft where it was just like quarterback mania. I think out of the first 10 picks, 37 of them were quarterbacks. I mean, it's just like so everybody, you get a quarterback, and you get a quarterback, and you get a quarterback, and you get a quarterback. So there's not that many to go around. It's not possibly. If we do our due diligence and all and everything, possibly it might be not a bad. We ain't telling Shane and Dave nothing. I mean, they're all doing it. Who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year? Who might be likely to be traded? I mean, I'm sure. I don't know if they're picking the phone up and calling about Trevor Lawrence, whatever. I don't know. They can do that or not, whatever. But they're doing all kinds of stuff, to see where they can go. Well, if we can't get a quarterback in the draft, or if we can't get a top 2 or 3 quarterback in the draft, where can we go from there? Right? Do we take one in the second round? If there is one in the second round, right? So that there's different ways to skin a cat, obviously, but the Giants are unfortunately, just because we have say we wind up 4-13 or 5-12 or whatever, it doesn't mean we're getting a quarterback in the first round. A lot of teams need quarterbacks, right? You got Sanders and Ward. They seem to be high up there, but the quarterback, I think Milroe, the quarterback from Alabama. Milroe. He's the highest graded quarterback, I think, according to PFF. So, but there's, each one, they all have flaws to their game, right? Sanders looks really good. He's putting up some good numbers and all, but then again, the quality of caliber of talent he's going up against. They all have their issues to them. There's no, dead stone lock, number one quarterback here, right? As we're going to see, we're going to go over, right? Just because you're taking a quarterback number 2 or 3 overall. There's not guaranteed success, shall we say? All right, let's see here. Another one here. Giants had their annual bye week, and even that proved to be unkind to the franchise. Now, they didn't lose any games, but of course we lost. We went from pick number 2 down to pick number 5. Giants, who entered week 11, slotted with the number 2 overall pick in the draft behind the Jaguars, who still hold the overall first pick. Dropped to number 5 behind the Titans, the Browns, and the Raiders. Well, the Jaguars are number 1 because their record's 2-9. Of those teams who are also 2-8, the toughest strength of schedule is the Giants at 5-29, which serves as the tiebreaker when it comes to teams that haven't gone head-to-head or aren't eligible for the other tie-breaking procedures. Not that this will make Giant fans who are calling for the team to tank feel any better, but the Giants no longer have the longest losing streak in the league. That honor goes to the Las Vegas Raiders, who dropped their 6th straight game on Sunday in a 34-19 road loss to the Dolphins. Giants, though, are in the midst of a 5-game losing streak, which is the second longest such streak in the league, and is 1 game worse than the Jaguars, Cowboys, Bucks. Well, the Cowboys just tied that, so because they just got blown out tonight. Giants spent the bye week evaluating all that has led them to winning just 2 games this season, a season in which, save for 2 blowout losses, they've been close. And we're going to go over that in just a minute. Giants are expected to make changes when they show up for work again on Monday. Well, because this article was written a couple days ago. Among the Giants' 2025 roster needs is no particular order. Our quarterback, cornerback, interior defensive line, edge. They have 2 starting edge. They could use a backup edge, but they can use a backup edge rusher who gets results. Not taking an edge rusher in the 3rd or 4th round. Oh, now we got depth. No, you need somebody who can put in there who actually gets pressure on the quarterback. Toman Fox is not that guy. Newsflash for you, right? The biggest need taking shape include quarterback. Should the Giants plan to be moving on from starter Daniel Jones? After the season is expected, a cornerback where the depth is paper thin across the board. Yep. Well, I mean, another one of the things, too, is that, I would really like to say, obviously would be get somebody next to Sexy Dexy. Somebody next to the sexy one. It all starts in the defensive line. It starts in the trenches. All starts in the trenches. If you control the trenches, you give yourself a real good chance. Right? So I would love to see him get a defensive tackle. Yeah. I mean, look what not that it's that easy, don't get me wrong, but look what we did in the third round. We got ourselves a pretty darn good. I mean, Phillips, as of right now, according to PFF, is the second. There's one other guy, I can't remember his name, from Pittsburgh. When I did my video 2 nights ago, whatever it was, there's a guy from Pittsburgh who played like 29 snaps, who had, I think, the highest cornerback. He had 29 snaps. So I just forget about it, right? So Drew Phillips, right, behind Ramsey, right? Phillips is the second. And I don't know what Ramsey graded out against the Raiders or nothing, but I mean, Drew Phillips is the second ranked, according to PFF, cornerback in the NFL. So look what we did in the third round. So, but this is supposed to be a good defensive tackle draft. So hopefully we can get a defensive tackle. What I would hate would be, let's wait a couple years and then we'll get somebody next to Sexy Dexy to help him out. Well, when Sexy's in his 10th year, I mean, he's not getting any younger. This is his 6th season. He's taken a lot of snaps. He's been beaten up a lot. He's going to start somewhere along the line. He's going to tail off. He's going to flatten out, and then he's going to start going downhill. All right, let's get some help next to the sexy one. While we got K-Bomb, we got Burns, while we got healthy, good, sexy, right in his prime, and let's get another stud in there. Get that front wall. I love that. Absolutely love that. But, all right, then I also did a video talking about with Joe Shane when he was talking to the media. Right? And one of the things he was talking about, but, makes some sense. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Maybe Shane is right. Giants aren't that bad after all. Maybe they're, what he was saying is that they're not that far off. And of course, all the guys, all the newspaper guys, and whatever, all the people at the press and all that stuff. Hey, you're 2-8. What are you talking about? Yeah, you suck. What do you mean you're not that far off, right? Well, I mean, if you go around and you look, right? I saw there's a chart here. Let me see. Is it the chart here? Can I get this? Can I pop it up here? No, that's not it. Where is it? No. Okay. I gotta find it. I got it here, but unfortunately I can't show it to you. Wish you. But there's a post. It's from it was posted on Twitter, and one thing Shane was talking about was the Giants aren't that far off. They're 2-8. But he said in the 1-score games they're 1-5. If they could start finding ways, obviously not that easy, of winning those close games, the record would be, if instead of 1-5, say they win 3 of those 5 losses, right? Now they're 5-5. With an easy schedule, not easy, but an easier schedule coming up, the final 7 games, hey, they might win 4 of those games. They could be 9-8, right? We're talking a little different season here, right? We're talking, but, and how kind of like, which, I can't remember exactly what it was, but in 2022, when the Giants went 9-7-1, went to the playoffs, beat the Vikings, right? That season there, right, them and the Vikings won a lot of one-score games. I think the Vikings at one point were like 10-0, or almost like every game the Vikings were in. I mean, they had a real good record, as they do this season, but they almost all their wins were like one-score games. I mean, look what they did with the Giants during the regular season. One-score game, that field goal, right? But that season there, the Giants won a lot of one-score games. They had, I can't remember what the record was, but whatever it was, 7-2 or what? Yeah, I mean 7. So the negative Nancy's was all they said, right, when that happened was, well, that's not sustainable. So the Giants suck, But as I said, now the Giants are losing all these one-score games, and all the negative Nancy's are like, yep, Giants just suck. Well, it's kind of like, well, what about the the one-score games we had 2 years ago that you were just it's amazing, really is amazing. Some people just there's nothing but negativity, nothing. It's absolutely freaking amazing. But now the Giants won a lot of those one-score games 2 years ago. They found the way. They got to do the same thing this year, and this year they're not. They're 1-5. And if you look and you figure, right, if we were woulda, coulda, shoulda, I get it. But with like 2 minutes to go, we're losing 10-7 to the Bengals. If somehow you could keep them out of the end zone, I mean, the guy had was like a 30-yard touchdown run. I think it was 1:52 to go. So yeah, I guess it was like after the 2-minute warning. I guess he got the ball and ran it in. I got right around there, right? So put them up 17-7. But with 2 minutes to go in the game, that's a one-score game. If we're able to keep them out of the end zone and they kick a field goal, and it's 13-7, that's a one-score game. I mean, so we're almost 1-6 in one-score games. We got to find ways to win these one-score games. But there's a chart that I saw on X that what it was is if they took all the teams, their one-score games, and they reversed their wins and losses in those one-score games, and then put their records up, the Giants would be right now, instead of 1-5 in those one-score games, say the Giants were 5-1 in those one-score games. Giants would be 6-4. This would be a whole different ball game, right? Whole different ball game. We'd be 6-4. What are the Commanders? I mean, actually, the Commanders wouldn't be 7-4, right? The Commanders would be 5-6 because they would have lost 2 games to the Giants. So the Giants would be 6-4. Giants would be in second place, right? But not right behind the Eagles, but we'd be in second place. We would have a good chance. We'd be thinking playoffs, right? As I said, because Commanders are 7-4. There's 2 of their wins were against the Giants, one-score games. So you give those. Well, actually, let's see what's the Commanders. Commanders will be 5-5. I guess whatever their one scores are. I don't know, but the one score with the Commanders. Oh, I thought the Commanders were 7-4. I thought they played 11 games. 7. Oh, you know what? This was probably before this past weekend. That's what it is. I think it is. I think that's what it is. So, with this chart here, if you took all the teams and their records in one-score games and you reversed it, Tampa Bay would have the best record in the NFC. They would be 7-3. 49ers would be 6-3. Now, once again, this is before, so I don't know what it would be. I didn't figure it out after this weekend, but this is before this weekend started. Okay, so Tampa Bay would have the best record in the NFC. They would be 7-3. San Francisco would be 6-3. The Giants would be third at 6-4. Detroit would be 5-4. Rams would be 5-4. The Bears would be 5-4. The Saints 5-5. Washington 5-5. Arizona 5-5. Green Bay 4-5. Philly would be 4-5. So the Giants would actually be in first place. Dallas 4-5, right? So the Giants would actually be in first place. Once again, this is before this weekend. So you figure this weekend that Washington lost, so Washington would be 5-6, Dallas would be 4-6, and the Eagles would be, what the heck did I say the Eagles were? Where's Philadelphia? Eagles would be 5-5. So the Giants would be in first place. Giants would be in first place. If you took their one score games, they had 6 of them. And instead of us being 1-5, reverse it, make us 5-1. The Giants would be leading the NFC East with a record of 6-4. We'd be in first place. Whole new different season. Whole new ball game, right? We'd be in first place, 6-4. And we got 7 games, some winnable games. We got the Colts, right? We got the Saints. We got the Cowboys. The Bucks. The Bucks. Oh, yeah, I give them some credit. Yeah, but we still got to play they got to play the Eagles again. We got to play the Ravens, and who else? We got the Falcons. The Falcons, yeah. So we got some winnable games. But certainly, these 4 games in these final 7, we could win. We certainly could win. We'd be 6. We'd be 6-4. Reversed. This was almost 2022 when we were winning those 1-score games. Now we're just losing them all. Right now, in the AFC, where we at here? Cincinnati, as bad as their record is, they'd be 8-2. Denver would be 8-2. Jacksonville, as horrible as they are, they would be 7-3. They would actually be 7-4 because they just got blown out. But Buffalo would be 6-4. Buffalo's a great team, but they're 6-4. The Chargers would be 7-2. Let's see. Baltimore 6-4. Pittsburgh would be 5-4. The Jets would be 5-5. So you look at Kansas City, right? Kansas City would be 2-8. If you took that's the difference. They're finding ways to win these 1-score games. The Chiefs, the Giants are not, because the Chiefs lost this week. It was a 2-score game, right? What was it, 30-21, right? So the Chiefs would be, if you took the Chiefs' record in 1-score games and you reversed it, the Chiefs would be 2-8. The Chiefs would have the worst record in all the football in the AFC. I know. No, the Carolina. The Carolina would be 1-9, but the Chiefs would be 2-8. Actually, they'd be tied with the Raiders at 2-8. So the Chiefs and the Raiders would both be 2-8. So, so you got to, think a little bit. Maybe change that. And I said that the one game against the Bengals, with 2 minutes to go, we were down by 3 points. Right. So maybe change that off. Not too far off after all. But that was a really interesting chart. Really, really interesting chart that I saw here. All right. Now, I saw this here. Next. Come on up. There we go. I saw this. This kind of like funny here. So you want to make it in the NFL, huh? In case you wonder who that is. That's the former Beatles drummer, Ringo Starr. Now, when actually his song, It Don't Come Easy, it's a good song, He brought it up to the members of the band, and I'm not sure if all of them hated it, or Paul just hated it, or Paul and John hated it, or exactly what it was. But he brought this. He apparently, I don't know, he wrote it or he had it or whatever it was. But he had this song come. It Don't Come Easy, and I don't know, it was all the members of the Beatles wanted. So after the Beatles broke up in 69 or 70, I think in 1971, Ringo went on his own. All the Beatles went on. All the Beatles had phenomenal, solo careers. Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr, John Lennon. I mean, all of them had fantastic solo careers. But there's one song from, it Don't Come Easy from Ringo Starr. It's a good song. Good song. It's quick. It's only like 2.5 minutes long, maybe 3 minutes at the most. Quick. Really good song. Really, really good song. But I saw this chart. Let me see. Can I pop this up here? Let me see now here. There's a couple. Oh, here we go. Yeah. I can pop this up. Yeah, here we go. Good. All right, good. Now, this kind of goes to show you here. All right. Now, this is from from 2014. And it's odds of making it, right, in the NFL. This once again is from 2014. Now, if you look, it's kind of hard to say, all right. But once again, these numbers have gone up probably a little bit, but it's not easy making it in the NFL. High school football players. Now, once again, this number's probably gone up since, football is maybe become a little more popular maybe than it was 10 years ago. So high school football players is 1 million. And this is from 10 years ago. 1,086,000. High school seniors, 310,000. The NCAA football players. So they go from 310,000 seniors in high school, now down to 70,000 college football players. NCAA freshmen playing football, 20,000. So high school seniors, there's 310,000. Then there's NCAA freshmen playing football, 20,000. So there's 310. Only, what the heck is that? Only 1 out of 15 and a half makes it to a college level. So basically, on your starting team, on your starting 11, chances are maybe one of those guys aren't even good enough to make it into college. On your starting 22, you might have one guy who might be good enough to make it into college. Not easy. Percentage of high school players that play in the NCAA, 6.5%. NCAA seniors playing football, 15,588. Now, there are a lot of colleges throughout the land. Obviously, you got your Alabamas and obviously your big schools, but then you got your Division 2 and 3 and all of that and everything. Your CW Post and your Ithacas and all this other smaller. The one really close to me is Rowan, small school, right? So there's NCAA seniors playing football, 15,588. Players scouted by the NFL, 6,500. 6,500 players are scouted by the NFL. That's a lot. Out of 6,500 players that are scouted by the NFL, only 350. This is from 10 years ago. Now, these numbers changed a little bit. I'm sure they probably have, but out of those 6,500 that get scouted, only 350 of them get invited. So basically, out of the 6,500, what would that be? That's about 1 out of every 19. Out of the 6,500 that get scouted, 1 out of every 19 gets invited to the combine. That's like 1 out of a starting 22, basically. It's not much. Players drafted in the NFL. Now, this is drafted. It says here's 256. Now, of course, there's undrafted free agents and all that stuff and everything, of course. But so, invited to the combine, 350. So players that get scouted, 6,500. Only 256 get scouted. Get drafted. Rookies making a team, 300. Now, of course, the way it is nowadays, draft picks are gold. I mean, they're really golden. So, I mean, you're finding, obviously, so with the Giants, usually the Giants draft 5 or 6 or 7 rookies. Usually those guys make the team. Now, they may not be on the team for all 4 years of their rookie deal, like Javarius Owens, but, if we draft 5 or 6 or 7 guys, chances are they're all making the team. So, but also out of the 256 that get drafted, you got undrafted free agents as well. So that's where I guess, you see there's 256 that get drafted, but actually 300 rookies make teams. So there's some undrafted free agents. So basically, you can look at that case, like maybe one undrafted free agent per team makes the team, right? Percentage of players from NCAA to the NFL, 1.6%. That ain't much. 1.6%. NFL players reaching year 4. So out of the 300 rookies that make a team, NFL players that make year 4 is 150. So out of those 300 rookies that make a team, the guys that get drafted and the undrafted free agents, only half of those make it to year 4. Now here it has the 2014 NFL minimum salary is $420,000. Well, that's not true. Now, I mean, the minimum salary is like $800,000 or $900,000, like $700,000-800,000. So it's at least double that, I'm going to say, because even like a guy in the 5th and 6th rounds making like $800,000 or so, right? But if you look at it, what they're saying here is they made $420,000 in 2014 is the minimum salary while they're on a rookie deal, right? I guess that takes all into well, it says the minimum salary. It doesn't include the guys made the first round picks and all that. The guys making the big bucks, but then it says after their taxes, and I guess maybe they have an agent or something like that. But it says after their taxes, after the income taxes, the income after the taxes, they only have $252,000, which, hey, you could throw that my way anytime. I'm more than happy with that, right? But what they're saying is they only make $252,000. So they basically, a lot of guys, as down here at the bottom, if you're lucky enough to be one of the 6.5 to become an NCAA football player, and one of the 1.5% of that group to make it to the NFL, you'll be lucky to get 3 years out of it. You'll be lucky to get 3 years out of it. At a minimum salary, you won't make enough to live on for the rest of your life, right? So you figure, right, if after their salary, now they're just saying here, this is 10 years ago. So that would probably at least double. I'm saying that probably would wind up at least doubling, right? Income after taxes, 252. So say right now, income after taxes, say like 500,000, right? So basically, if you get 3 years out of it, so this is just an average. Some guys don't make it that long. Some guys make it 6, 7, 8 years, but some guys make it 1 year. Some guys get injured, and they never, like Darian Beavers. Some guys, hardly make it. They go out and then they get injured in preseason year 1, and they're never the same. They never play again. So you forget about those guys. You look at the guys that make it for 6, 7, 8. You look at the Saquon, right? Oh, McGee, the guy's been it for 7 years. McGee, everybody makes a 7 years. No, they don't. But what they're saying, this is from 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, right? Their income after taxes would be $252,000. So if they're lucky to get 3 years out of it, their NFL career would consist of making $750,000, which is a nice chunk of change, don't get me wrong, but it's not enough to live off of for the rest of your life. Now, at this rate, 10 years later, say their average salary after taxes and all that and everything is $500,000. Well, if you get 3 years out of it, that's $1.5 million. Still not enough to live on for the rest of your life. Now, what you should do is take whatever, $500,000 of that or whatever, and try to live off of that for a couple of years. Maybe if you live within your means, take the $500,000, live on that for a few years, right? Take the $1 million and throw that, right? And just forget about it. If you're 24, 23 years old and you take $1 million and you throw it somewhere and it doubles a few times, then you can retire off of that, right? But the $500,000 you try to live on, you can live on for so long, but then once your football career's over, you got to do something else. But if you take that $1 million and put it someplace, and if it doubles a few times over the next 30 years or so, well, now you can retire on that. But it just goes to show you here how kind of like it's not that easy, And the thing is also, you see those odds. I mean, but you think about, there's a lot of positions on a football team. I mean, there's 11 on offense, there's 11 on defense, there's special teams, there's the kickers. There's a lot of positions. I mean, you can imagine how hard it is to make it in the basketball. I mean, there's only 5, positions on the court. That's it. And, you got some guys who can play the whole game. I mean, Michael Jordan, hardly ever came off the court. He came off the court, but, not for very long. I mean, you can literally play a basketball, with 8 guys a game with 8 guys. You ain't playing that with the NFL. So you see how hard it is to make it in the NFL. And there's so many positions. And I said, not only is it hard to make it in the NFL, but to last, a long period of time in the NFL. I mean, so you forget about a lot of those guys that come in here, make the team for a year and get cut, never play ever again. Or that, like Darian Beavers, he got injured year 1, couldn't make it last year, came back, couldn't make the team this year. And, he just, I don't know if he's someplace else or not, that I don't know. But some guys, that happens to them. They come in, everything looks like sunshine and roses. They get injured, and boom, they're never the same player once again, and they can't be on. I mean, you can get injured, maybe come back if you're on a high school team, because but when you're with the best, you get injured and you come back and you're not quite the same person you were before. You're with some of the freakiest athletes on the face of the earth. You got to come back in top shape, and if you can't, you may just not be able to play football ever again. It's tough. That is freaking tough. All right. So then I saw this. As I said, once again, just because, you're getting yourself a nice high draft pick does not necessarily ain't no surefire hits in this draft class at quarterback. And not even so much this draft class, but, all the other draft classes, I mean, just because you got a shot. I mean, look at this guy right here, Mr. Russell right here. I mean, there ain't no bigger bust in the NFL, almost in the NFL history than this freaking guy right here. I mean, holy cow, what a bust this guy was. And I was pick number 1 or pick number 2, whatever it was in the draft, right? Where he took a chance on him, and man, he stunk. He just straight up stunk. So just because if the Giants get pick number 1 and they got a chance at their quarterback, it doesn't mean that they're hitting it out of the park. So I got one thing here. It says the Raiders, Giants, and Browns need to prepare themselves for aggressive quarterback drafts. It says the best passers in 2025 are nowhere near the caliber of last year, as there will be a rush on the top prospects early. Yep. The NFL season is moving quickly, but the early first-round draft order is taking clearer and clearer shape with every week. While the playoff picture is a bit crowded across the AFC and the NFC, but the bottom of the standings are pretty crowded as well. For some of them, there are teams that are in desperate need for a new quarterback. 3 of those teams are the Raiders, the Browns, and the Giants. According to Tankathon, here are the teams that would be selecting with the first 5 picks. Right? Yeah, I went over this. The Jaguars, Titans, Browns, Raiders, and Giants. 3 of those 5 teams arguably could possibly be 4 if you want to throw the Titans in there, maybe. Or I mean, it could be. You don't even know. If something crazy goes on with the Jaguars, right? I mean, I would think that they would want to keep Trevor Lawrence there, but anyway. 3 of the 5 teams are in desperate need of a surefire franchise quarterback when April rolls around, primarily Cleveland, New York, and the Raiders. Based on ESPN's best available list, these are the top 5 quarterbacks projected to be picked in the first 2 days of the draft. The first 2 days. These are first 2 rounds. Sanders, right? Ward, Jalen Milroe. Those are the guys, according to PFF, who have the top 3 grades. They have top first round grades assigned to them as of right now, according to PFF. Carson back from Georgia, and Ewers. I think that's Quinn Ewers from Texas. Those are the top 5. In this draft order holds, there's not going to be enough elite rookie passers to go around. The Giants and Raiders who missed out in 2024 will be jockeying to put themselves in a position to nab one of the top 2 quarterbacks. To prepare front office warfare, the 2025 draft is lacking in elite passers. It's not what it was last year. Now, ESPN hasn't produced a mock draft since midseason, and those projections are way off now that some passers have regressed, others improved mightily. But Tankathon, however, has produced a mock draft of their own, and the results suggest the quarterback-needy teams will be slugging it out on the phones to move up. So they got Travis Hunter, Jacksonville Jaguars taking Travis Hunter. So quite possibly, here, as crazy as it is, according to Tankathon, they have 2 Colorado Buffaloes being taken with the top 2 picks. Hunter going to the Jaguars, the wide receiver, and then Sanders going to the Titans at quarterback. 2 Colorado Buffaloes being taken the top 2 picks. That's crazy. Cleveland Browns, they're taking Graham. I'm going to be going over Graham in just a little bit, the defensive lineman. The Raiders take Cam Ward, and then the Giants take Will Johnson, cornerback, which wouldn't be bad either, right? If you put Banks over on the weak side, you put Will Johnson over there on the strong side, going against the number 1, and then you got Drew Phillips in the slot, we might have our 3 cornerbacks. Or then depending upon if we keep Flott, if he stays around or whatever, then we might have a little bit of a backup. But, so we could use a cornerback. We need it. If we can get Graham, that would be fantastic. I don't know why they would, why Cleveland would want to pass on a quarterback and take a defensive lineman. I don't know. But anyway, of course, Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy favorite, will be taken first overall. It's hard to see a scenario where that doesn't happen. Let's see. Tennessee selecting a quarterback, however, would be a surprise. Sure, Will Levis has amounted to a bust so far, but Sanders will father Dion allow a poorly run organization like the Titans to select him. Papa Prime also said he's going to be keeping the best interest out for Travis Hunter as well, too. So not just his son, Hunter as well. Cleveland opting to replace Zadarius Smith on the defensive front makes sense, even if starting quarterback Deshaun Watson is recovering from a torn Achilles, and backup Jameis Winston is far from being his successor. But don't be surprised if Cleveland also wants to try to take Sanders if given the chance. So we got Las Vegas will certainly take a passer if Sanders is gone. Then Ward is the next best option. But if Tennessee and Cleveland decide they want to alter the direction of the franchise immediately, the Raiders and the Giants will be out of luck for the 2nd consecutive year. Texas's Quinn Ewers is not worth reaching with a first-round selection, not even if Las Vegas or New York trade back a dozen spots or so. Tankathon's mock has Cleveland selecting Alabama's Milroe and New York taking Ewers at the top of round 2. Very much consolidation, very much a consolation prize selections given how much of a change the 2 teams need at the key position. General managers may be forced into selling more than they think is fair in order to guarantee their team a top 3 spot in this if the order holds. The Raiders and Giants will be the 2 to watch as they are the most desperate to improve under center in 2025, which is true. They are the worst. Obviously, they certainly are the worst, without question. Let's see. So I had a. Whoops. There was a. Where are we at here? There we go. All right. There was a. All right. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Oh, cool. I can probably pop this up. Now, there was a chart here, right, showing, going over, just because, once again, just because you get a, Pick number 2. We can pick whatever quarterback we want. Oh, here we go, baby. Super Bowl. It doesn't mean that. It don't necessarily mean that. I mean, you look here. Look at this chart here. Over, let's see what we have. Well, I mean, look at these quarterbacks taken here, okay? All right. Over the past, there were 26 quarterbacks drafted between 2021 and 2023. Only 3 would be considered hits, including Trevor Lawrence and Brock Purdy. Right? I mean, you look at Trevor Lawrence. So hold on. Let me get the banners out of the way here, just for a second here, so we can see this whole thing here. Right? So obviously, right. So we got 26. So we got Trevor Lawrence, and this it goes, but basically how many yards they've thrown for. Okay. Right. But you look at Trevor Lawrence, right? Mac Daddy Jones, he's thrown for a bunch, but he's nope. Justin Fields, nope. Zach Wilson, oh my God. David Mills, nope. Kenny Pickett, nope. Sam Howell, nope. Desmond Ridder, Bryce Young, Aiden O'Connell, Zappy, Will Levis, Trey Lance, Anthony. I need to tap out Richardson. Oh my God. Skylar Thompson, Alinger, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Malik Willis, Jaron Hall, Ian Book. I mean, just on and on and on. So you got 3 guys, right? C.J. Stroud, Brock Purdy, and Trevor Lawrence. 3 guys from 20, those 3 drafts there. Okay, out of 26 quarterbacks in those 3 drafts that are successful. 3 out of 26. That ain't too good. Then if we look here, okay, at just 24. I'm just going to go to the first round here. All right, I'm just, instead of going over. All right, you look at Caleb Williams. Well, possibly. He's, what do we got here? He has 306 rushing yards, 9 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's throwing, 200 completions and 325 attempts, 2,000 yards passing. So, I mean, some of these guys, it's like, once again, some of it, it's almost kind of like, I really don't know what some of these guys are, it's like, this guy's not taking us to the Super Bowl. Caleb Williams ain't taking us to the Super Bowl this year. Let's bench him. He sucks. Let's see if we can trade the guy. I mean, he played 5 downs. He only completed 1 pass. The guy sucks. I mean, come on. Let's give the dude a chance, right? I mean, right? But so Caleb Williams possibly, right? Got to give the guy some time. Jaden Daniels certainly looks like all of that and a bag of Doritos. Even Drake May, right? Let's see what else we got. Michael Penix, he hasn't had a chance yet, really. J.J. McCarthy hasn't had a chance yet. Bo Nix, right? I mean, 234 passes, 357 completions, 14 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Not bad. Not bad. Let's see. Anybody else in the first round? No. Right. So, I mean, so far, you can possibly look at between May, Daniels, Williams, and Bo Nix. Right? So possibly, but some of those guys that I read off, some of them, maybe started kind of, like, what's his name? The quarterback from, where's he at here? For the Patriots. Mac Daddy Jones. I mean, he started off not doing too bad, and all of a sudden he just, so I mean, so far, I mean, you got to tip your cap to like maybe 4 of the quarterbacks so far. Just in that first round I was looking at from this year's draft. Not bad. But even so, all right, if you take those 4 from this first round, that's all I'm going by. First round. And all the quarterbacks from The last 3 drafts, that's only 7 quarterbacks in the last 4 drafts. Right? That ain't many. That's basically, that's like say that's out of every draft, there's 2 quarterbacks that make it. That ain't enough. That ain't enough. When you got 7, 8, 9, 10 teams annually that need quarterbacks, only 2 of them come out on an average that are good, that make the grade. Wow, that's tough. That's really tough. So, once again, just because the Giants get a top pick, or they better do the due diligence and all of that. And when they have a conviction about somebody, all the chips are in the middle of the table, and you live and die by that guy. But you better be darn sure. Better really be darn sure. But once again, even though all those other teams were pretty darn sure too about the quarterbacks, and as you see, there's from 2021 to 2023, 26 quarterbacks got drafted. Only 3 out of 26. What the heck is that? 1 out of 9? What is that? 11%, 12% were successful? I mean, or worthy to keep around, maybe a second contract on 12%. Whoo, wow. So so just because you get a top pick in the draft, doesn't guarantee you success. As I said, especially this year. I mean, there's no Peyton Mannings, there's no John Elway, there's no Trevor Lawrence, there's no Drew Lock coming out. Lock, guy for the Colts, right? So, I mean, some of those guys are like supposed to be, surefire guarantee, which they were, but there's no unbelievable, amazingly got to have quarterback talent coming out of this draft. I mean, there's some guys that look good, and all that, but I'm sure they all have chinks in their armor, right? So, got to be careful about that. But speaking of that, speaking about like Sanders and all of that and everything, there we are there. Oh yeah, Papa Prime. Will he be a thorn in the Giants' side? Now, because he's what he's going to do, and he said he's doing that with both his son and Hunter, the wide receiver. He's looking out in the best interest. So, what I got an article here. He said he's going to, he's going to have those guys' backs, and if he thinks they're going to a bad organization or whatever, I don't know, exactly what he's going to, if the Giants turn and they take Sanders, or if it's the Giants' turn and they might take Sanders and Papa Prime's like, he ain't going there. I don't know what's going to happen. You can draft my boy, but he's not playing for it. I don't know. Not exactly sure. I don't know if it's going to be an Eli Manning kind of thing. Is Archie didn't want him going to the Chargers. I don't know. Don't know. But the thing is like, what is Papa Prime looking at, right? Is he looking at like how dysfunctional things are, right? I mean, things obviously aren't looking too good for the Giants. Is he looking for that? Is he looking for, who's coaching them? Is it, is it everything? I mean, is it looking like, well, they got Malik Neighbors, right? Wandale Robinson, so they got a real good wide receiver. Is he looking at Daboll? It's like, well, that dude got Josh Allen. I mean, he knows how to coach, Or is it like, well, he had Josh Allen, but then look what he did with Daniel Jones. I mean, so, is he looking at the whole organization? Is he looking at the ownership? Is he looking at the general manager? Is he looking at the coach? Is he looking at what the team is? Is he looking at everything? You don't know. But he's and he did say, I got in his article here, he said, I'm not going to say anything publicly. I'm going to say it behind doors. So I don't know what he's going to do, but it would be kind of, I don't know, man. It's like, I mean, like if Hunter goes number one, apparently according to this here, that's a lot. It's like $10 million or so. I mean, if as I'm saying, it's like, well, if Papa Prime doesn't want him going to Jacksonville, okay, well, if he goes, I don't know. I mean, if the next 2 or 3 teams take quarterbacks and then he winds up sliding to say number 5 or 6, instead of him making $10 million a year, he's going to make $6 million a year. He's going to lose $4 million a year. He's going to lose what? I mean, what is that? $10-15 million over a 4-year, because Papa Prime's. Wow. Ooh, I don't know about that, but we got good old Deion Sanders. His vow could complicate the Giants' 2025 NFL draft plans. Giants are in line to select second overall. Well, this is obviously this is a few days old, but they plan on taking Deion Sanders' son. They might want to make sure Papa approves first. The younger Sanders is high on the list of quarterbacks in next year's NFL draft class. He plays at the University of Colorado, where his Hall of Fame dad is the head coach. If the wrong team selects Shedeur, Deion appears to be ready to put his thumb on the scale and steer him away. Not exactly sure what that means, but yeah, but I'm not going to do it publicly. I'll do it privately, Sanders said this week in an interview on Fox Sports 1. I'm going to be a dad until the cows come home, and with Colorado wide receiver Travis Hunter as well. So the question is, are the Giants one of those wrong teams? We likely won't know until we get closer to the draft in April, but Deion is sending some salvos across the bow of any team that he deems unsatisfactory for his talented son. Shedeur is predicted to go high in the first round, possibly in the top 5. Teams that select that high in the draft are there for a reason. They suck. They're not very good. The Giants fall into that category. History isn't on the Giants' side in this scenario, and they know it. In 2004, they benefited from such an instance when Archie Manning told the Chargers not to draft his son Eli. The Chargers defied the elder Manning, selected Eli anyway, and then shopped him around. General Manager Ernie Accorsi quickly swooped in, and you know the rest. Oh, yeah, you got that right. I got another thing here. It says, Shedeur Sanders left a good impression on the Giants. Well, because Shane went out there and was scouting him. He scouted that game. Giants learned a lot about the quarterback, who is the son of Pro Football Hall of Famer and Colorado head coach Deion Sanders. Overall, Shedeur had another strong performance with 340 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception as the Buffaloes defeated the Utah Utes. I think that's who it was, 49-24. The lone interception came on the game's very first play. So after that, he brushed it off, forgot about it, and didn't throw another interception the rest of the game, which meant that Colorado found themselves into trouble early. The Utes would kick a field goal on the ensuing drive to take a 3-0 lead, but the Buffaloes quickly responded and never looked back. Sanders would settle in the next drive and toss a 40-yard touchdown pass to Will Shepard to get his squad in front 7-3 in the first quarter. From there, it was just another day at the office for Sanders, as the Buffaloes never trailed the rest of the way. Their 49 points were also a season high for Colorado, so Sanders surely left a good impression on Shane, another member of the Giants staff, after a rough start. Along with quickly responding to adversity, Sanders is shown to be a tremendous pocket presence thanks to his mobility, often extending plays beyond the pocket and making accurate throws downfield. The Giants will be desperate in their search for a new quarterback this offseason, as Daniel Jones has continued his struggles in the 6th season. With their 2-8 record, New York is in prime position to making either the first or second overall pick, where Sanders could be available for the taking. Other quarterbacks that will be keeping an eye on include Cam Ward and Georgia's Carson Beck. Well, I said the quarterback from Alabama is supposed to be pretty good too. Or decent anyway. Now, Shedeur What's he got? He has, this season, he's completing 73% of his passes. He has 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Very, very, obviously very impressive numbers. Very, very impressive numbers. But once again, I mean, he's played Utah, Cincinnati, Arizona, K-State is pretty good. They lost to K-State, Texas Tech. So I mean, it's as always, playing college is one thing. Playing in the pros is something else. I mean, when you're playing Texas Tech, okay, that's cute, but Texas Tech ain't. When you come to the pros, everybody's Alabama. Every player is from Alabama. I mean, that's basically what it amounts to. There ain't no Texas Tech. There's no Georgia Southern. Nothing. You're playing the best of the best. Right? So it's a little different. So I mean, sometimes because you're putting up Madden numbers, right, in the NCAA does not mean you're going to do it in the NFL. So. I mean, does that mean obviously he won't be successful? No, of course not. I mean, he's got his father on his side. I'm sure he's got tons of confidence going for him. He's a heck of an athlete. Quite possibly he might want to doing some wonderful things in the NFL. Who knows? You don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see, what Papa Prime winds up doing. If he does it, if he does anything. Now I'm saying now, if there's like 32 teams, does he give thumbs down to 27 of them? There's only 5 teams I want. I mean, or is there like 2 of them he really does? I mean, you don't know. You're probably not going to know, won't ever know. Unless unless one of those, like say the Browns, he doesn't want him to go to the Browns, doesn't want him to go to Cleveland. Well, if the Browns draft him and he has to wind up getting traded, I guess Cleveland was one of those teams. But I said, what he's going to do, I don't know. I mean, because you can't. I mean, you can, I guess whatever. Say, well, my son's not going to play for you. So I don't. You can threaten them, but they can still draft them. It doesn't mean they can't. Roger Goodell doesn't come and sorry, Cleveland, you can't draft this guy. His daddy said no, they can draft him. And then you can play hardball. I mean, I don't know. You trade him. Trade him somebody, whatever. But get him and then trade him and basically hold them for ransom. We'll keep giving us some more draft picks, and then we'll I mean, so. But then one thing would be is that is that if you draft a guy like say with the number 3 overall pick and you got to pay him $7-8 million, that's guaranteed money. So you got to pay the guy $30 million, whatever, just say for 4 years. Well, if you want to play hardball with him, and if his father doesn't want him playing, and you don't trade him, and he's on your roster, you got to pay the dude $30 million just to sit there. I guess I don't know, but it'd be very, very interesting to see, if Papa Prime. Because apparently that Hunter, that wide receiver is all of that and 2 bags of Doritos. That guy is really, really good. So he's going really high. But the thing is with the Giants, if the Giants were to win a couple games, let's get crazy and say they win 2 games. They want to win 4 games. Well, now they might be picking, whatever. Yeah. Well, I guess if you look last year, they won 6 games and they picked number 6 overall. So. So I guess if they win 2 or 3 games out of the final, whatever, they still might be picking 5 or 6. Say if they won a 5-12, right? They might still be picking 5 or 6. It's possible, but just some of these teams just look so bad that like there's almost ungodly. It's like you look at some of these teams, it's like, oh my God, I don't know if some of these teams are ever going to win another football game, but I think it is. One game at a time, one game at a time. But, so, speaking about draft picks, just want to end here with this here. Now, so once again, if the Giants don't wind up taking, or if they can't just say take a quarterback or whatever, because the guys, they're all drafted, the 2 or 3 guys, maybe I said Milroe, Ward, or Sanders. Those are the top 3 guys. If they're first round picks on them, The Giants ain't reaching for a guy who's graded out in the second round or something like that. So the Giants don't wind up taking a quarterback. For whatever the reason winds up being, right? In the first round, they said this one guy here. But according to Tankathon, this guy may not even make it to the Giants. The Giants are picking. They got him going to Cleveland at number 3 overall. But hey, you don't know. But I said I would love to team somebody up next to Sexy Dexy. That would be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. While Sexy's still in his prime. Let's not get Sexy help when Sexy's in year number 37 and he's walking around with a cane or he's in a wheelchair and he's making 1 tackle a year. No, let's get the dude some help now. Right? Let's beef up that defensive front. Let's stop them. Run. Right? So I did see this. This is pretty cool. Michigan defensive tackle is from Giants Wire. He's named a best fit for the Giants, which I couldn't possibly agree more. He said the biggest thing, obviously, the Giants have to figure out, what are they doing at quarterback? If they're not going to be in position to grab one of those top quarterbacks, they're going to get back in the second round, hope and pray they get back in the second round, or are they going to get somebody in free agency or what? Who knows? But, it's obviously number one, obviously, is getting a quarterback. But I said, if quarterbacks aren't ready, I would love to see him if they could possibly grab this guy. That would be really good. Said the Giants, the 2025 NFL draft, expectations that they'll lean on a quarterback and finally replace Daniel Jones. But not everyone is sold on the upcoming quarterback class, and some even believe the Giants would be better serving by selecting a different position of need. Because, sometimes it's almost like you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. It's like, we'll show you. We're taking a quarterback. You can't reach. You can't reach. If there's a quarterback who's got a second round grade or something, or date, we're taking a quarterback. We'll show you. We're taking one. You can't do that. If you're picking in the top 10, you got to take somebody who, unless the quarterback is graded out maybe the 11th or 12th or 13th guy, something like that. If you're picking 9th, then okay. But if you're taking 9th, you can't take somebody who's graded out, pick 30, 32, 33, or whatever. You can't do that. If you're picking in the top 10, you need to take somebody who's graded out as a top 10 blue chipper, as they say. You got to do that. I said that this guy would be really good. So, Brent Sobolewski, a Bleacher Report, is one of those people suggesting General Manager Joe Schoen should target defensive tackle Mason Graham. The idea of pairing Dexter Lawrence with Graham is downright frightening. Lawrence is already the game's best interior defender with the ability to completely take over games. The same applies to Graham at the collegiate level. Graham currently ranks as Bleacher Report's number 2 overall prospect. Wow, that's scary. He's a disruptive 3 technique, which is something the Giants got, because if they got Sexy right over the center, then the other guy next to him would be a 3 technique. Right? He has the strength and quickness to consistently reset the line of scrimmage. As a result, the Giants can dominate the line of scrimmage and build the entire squad's identity around their defensive front. Yep. Giants have been especially weak along the defensive interior when Lawrence is off the field. And that's another one of the things, because, if you got him on there for, say, 70% of the plays, there's 20 plays a game or whatever, 15, 20 or so that he's not on the field, that you got a relatively weak defensive front. You like that, if you could, 2, if you got 2 studs, one goes off the field, you still have one on the field, right? And having like DJ Davidson or Jordan Riley or Nacho as your main guy, that's not overly impressive. Opposing offenses routinely attack inside until Dexy returns, and that weakness has been increasingly glaring over the past several weeks. Graham would match need with value, but can the Giants really afford to pass on a quarterback? Even if the overriding belief is that the 2026 quarterback class will be better than the 2025 class, there's no guarantee General Manager Joe Shane and head coach Brian Daboll can hang on to their jobs that long, which is true. However, if the Giants were able to find a talented bridge quarterback in free agency, Sam Darnold perhaps, adding Graham to the defense and snagging a quarterback in the 2026 might be the best case scenario. Of course, there are precious few fans out there who are willing to be that patient at this point, but can you blame them? Now, so if you look, oh, here we go. Yeah, let me pop this up here for you. Show you. Once again, this is college. I get it, but he's got some pretty decent. I got the oh, there we go. Whoa! All right, who's the first one at the top? He's got some pretty decent numbers here. Right now, right. Last year, right, with the undefeated Michigan Wolverines, right, with Harbaugh as the coach, graded out at a 90 overall. This year with Wink, right, his run defense is a 90.9, tackling 75, his pass rush is 79, coverage, who cares? But so far this year, right, he has 32 total pressures. Now, in about the same amount. I mean, he does not play. He's only got 442 snaps last year, 479 so far this year. But you can see 479, 297 pass rushing opportunities. He has 32. So basically, like 1 out of like every 9 pass rushes, he gets some type of a pressure. Now, I get it. This is just college. I get it. But, you say, I mean, he has 5 sacks so far, but it's an interior defensive lineman. So he gets pressure. His run defense, like last year, was 87.8, and it got even better this year. He graded out his defense is not quite as good this year as it was last year. The defense is not as good this year. But look, he's at 90.9. His run defense this year. Run defense is very good. But you look last year, it was. I guess I don't know if he was. I guess just his second year. I guess he graded out at a 90. I mean, really, really good. I mean, you look overall here. I mean, he's had some very. Fresno State. I guess I don't know. I don't know if he was asleep or something. I don't know. He graded out a 58. But ever since then, he's had some really good games. Illinois. 86, 90.6 against Washington, 85.5, really, really got some good grades. Now, once again, that's just college. I get it. But I said, everything always starts in the trenches. As I said, what that article said too is that a lot of time, you can't have sexy out there for 100% of the snaps. If the other team has 70 snaps on offense, Sexy's out there for maybe 50. You got to give the guy a breather. And they know he's not on the field no more. It's like, okay, we're running. Run the ball inside, right? So the problem is that, when you have Sexy out there, you got Sexy and somebody else. Okay. But the problem is when Sexy leaves and you have DJ Davidson and Nacho out there, that's not very imposing on the other team. They're not, ooh, my goodness, that's not very scary. So that way, if you have those 2 guys out there, when one guy goes out and takes a breather, you still got one of the guys out there, right? Or for quite a bit of the game, 30, 40, 50, half the game, say half the game, you're going to have both those guys out there at the same time. I mean, can you imagine? You got Kayvon, right? You got Brian Burns, you got Sexy Dexy, and you got Graham out there. That would be a great front line. Great front line. Everything starts in the trench. If you can control the trenches, you're giving yourself a huge chance to win the game. Absolutely. It all starts in the trenches. And as I said, the thing is here is that let's get, like we go back a couple of years ago, right? Or you go back when the Giants, one of the best, it wasn't like an unbelievably dominating run defense, but if you go back, right, when we first got Leo the Lion here, we had, for that 1 year, we had Leo the Lion, we had Dalvin Tomlinson, and we had Sexy Dexy in there. Those 3 guys, the run defense was pretty good. Then obviously Dalvin went. Then obviously Leo Lyon went. We never really replaced any of those guys. Sexy's still here, but we never really replaced those guys. So now we're trying to do it with pretty much Sexy, and it's just not well. And the other thing too is that this is 6th year, right? I mean, he's not going to be here for the he's not going to be Eli Manning, who's going to be here for 15, 16 years. It's not happening. I mean, maybe he'll play. Maybe if we're lucky, maybe he'll get another contract after this one, and he's probably not going to be able to play for 13, 14 years. I mean, his time is unfortunately, he's at the top of his game, right? But he's not going to. I don't think he's going to keep getting better. He's going to start tailing off, and then he's going to start going down. And he's only got so many more years. Let's get the guy some help, okay? While Sexy's still at the top of his game. And let's get the guy some help when we can still afford it, right? Because if we got Sexy making, 22, 23, we're paying Burnsy like $29 million. Kayvon's making 7 or 8 or something, whatever that is, somewhere around there. He's going to want to get paid, right? So if we bring in a rookie, right, on a rookie deal, now if we got to pick the guy in the top 5 or 6 picks or whatever it is, he's going to want some money. But let's get the guy in here when he can still help out Sexy, right? And we can still afford him, right? Because you figure, we're paying Burnsy $29 million, paying Sexy Dexy like 22, 23, whatever it is. I mean, Kayvon's going to want, 20, 25, somewhere around there. He's probably not going to make maybe Burnsy money, but he's going to want to get paid. I mean, that's going to be a very expensive defensive front. So we're either going to keep bringing in guys that, $3-4 million a year guys, which aren't the greatest help in the world. Let's be fair, right? Or if we can draft somebody and bring somebody in, right, who we're only paying maybe $6 or $7 million, that's, it's a nice chunk of change, but it's better paying somebody $6, $7, or $8 million a year than paying them like Sexy Dexy money, right? So, but as I said, it all starts in the trenches, right? And I said, if we can get that one more guy next to Sexy Dexy while he's still in his prime, man, that would be huge. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 47 minutes. I'm not sure if that's a record for me or not, but that's damn close. Well, whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody spends any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.
Thank you.